I'm Chad Lyons, junior high principal. Today we're just going to have a walk around the building. Want to point out some concerns, possibly issues here at the junior high school, structurally, building wise. But one thing I want you to remember is things that you're going to see. I mean, there's problems here. I'm just going to, I ain't going to make anything up there. There is some problems, but how our students perform, it's just outstanding. Our teachers, they've identified essential learnings and they really focus on all kids learning at high levels. They continue to push students. We're either, the state rates us either as a great or excellent this past school year. We're an excellent school district. And so our kids perform in this environment. They do perform academically, and that's why we're here, and that is for the academics. The learning environment definitely does need to improve. Down south here is our industrial tech, and this building is a, it's a 678 building, but actually it is a 612 building because our senior high students come here to the building in that 1st through 8th period, and most of it concentrates down this south hallway industrial tech area, but also we have students that from the senior high that are student aides, so they're down our main hallways. So this is a classroom that we use for junior high and senior high kids, and that with the materials class going on here with our students in 7th grade. Coach Sugaroo, he teaches electronics and drafting. This was a band room that we've converted to a classroom. We still use the old drafting tables. They do a little pencil paper work. The community, the school district has been always very supportive of industrial tech, when it comes to equipment and technology-wise. In the 90s, we had a CNC router, CNC lathe. We still have the original CNC lathe. And this is our newest laser. We have 2 lasers here in our school district. The only way we can vent it is both of them are vented the same way, and that is out the window. And then we just open up the window, throw the hose out, work. When we're finished, now we just pull the hose and pull the room. This area, the industrial tech area, when they say the building is air conditioned, it is not completely air conditioned. Rooms 44, 45, and 46, they're not air conditioned. So there's usually a little controversy regarding, keeping the doors shut. I taught in room 45 here in 1987. Well, we opened the doors because it can get real warm in here. This is Tyler Jedlicky's room, and that woodworking, and that, as you can see, when I first come to McCook, it was poorly lit, and that storage-wise, we put in the storage decks up above. Some of them are double stacked because just utilization of space and the number of students that we have. It is very popular, and the community's been supportive of industrial tech, woodworking, small construction items here in the building. This is all woodworking, but this used to be a metal shop, welding area, and it is needed. It's a skill set that students need to, it's a required skill set to be able to weld. This is where, the issue's kind of, I would say, right to the south of me. Something's going on here, because you can see the mortar joints, the gaps that are starting to happen here in this divide, the wall between, the restrooms are right behind. There's an elevation change. I don't know, I'm gonna guess probably 2.5 inches. It's greater right here compared to over here, but this is, I think, the 4th time we've replaced the tiles on this side. This one behind, this stripe behind me or to the front, this stripe here, this was added, and you can see we got cracking. Well, we'll start busting up in that, and we'll take it out. In the restrooms, you walk in, generally when you walk in, you never really look up that much, as you're walking around, but there's obviously something now this, that's a cutting area, and I know who cut that. And they couldn't get the door open. Then they got the door open, then we couldn't get it closed, and this is custodial. So we got to, for safety, we need to keep the door shut. But, we got mortar, we got cracks here, and it's more prevalent, and I'll show you over in the ladies' and girls' restroom. But one thing, when you look up at the wall here, we're tight with the ceiling here to the south, and the gap increases as we move here to the north. So something's up. But as you walk out, you can feel yourself come up into this area. the main hallway here by the office, and then you go, then you gotta walk back down. Custodial a year ago, last summer, custodial individual was coming down the hallway and heard a pop. Something broke, and here, the restroom. I mean, we're getting pretty good gaps here. This corner block here, I don't know why it's still there. I don't know, and that must be, it's back in the day, used good materials in their mortar, and it's still sticking. It's still sticking there, but he heard a pop. And that pop had to be, and by golly, it has changed, had to be this corner right up over here. Matter of fact, I'm not tall enough, but this flake, oh yes I am, this flake is new. And that is flaked off from somewhere. Running down this hallway, I mean, as I said, our building's old, but it needs to be clean. And our building, over the years, and I've really stressed that, push for it, we got to keep our building clean. And that floors are looking good and looking great in all the classrooms. They're shining, which that's important. But once, I was showing down the south hallway there, space-wise, it's not that large when you put people in here. We have the middle school concept where we have 6th grade there to the east, 7th grade is here, centrally located, and 8th grade is kind of right behind us, or where we're standing at. But our science, 6, 7, 8 science are all down on the east end. So all our science kids, they have to go down the hallway and they have to come back. And students come out, even within 7th grade, you forget something, you go to your locker. So anytime, this is congestion 101, and that when the bell rings, population-wise, we've never been under 300 students. I don't recall, and that we've been from probably 305 to anywhere up to 325 here in the last 10 years. Well, probably that's a stretch of probably 320. We used to have 347, 350 kids in this building as we're moving through the building. This is a study hall, is for kids that are not in band and choir, but we have curtain walls. I'm trying to think, classroom here in the building that doesn't have at least one curtain. Well, down south, those are all either wood paneling, wood walls, or wood with the fiber over them. And we've been in a few classrooms, for classroom size, but I want to point out, we do have, the largest classroom. This is 6th grade reading. This used to be family consumer science classroom, and that we no longer offer family consumer science. So 6th grade reading. This is the largest. And if you look here, there's 3, 6, 9, 12, 24, 25. She must have a class of 25, which that's possible, and that with band and choir interest, and that at one class of 25, which is fine. But I want to show you the smallest classroom, our reading classroom. 26, 24, 25, 20 kids, they fit in this classroom. There wasn't much mobility-wise, in that aisles were tight, and this was, they sat in the old seat, desktop type desk that I was familiar with when I was a kid. We were earlier, this is the second area where you have to go through a classroom to get to another classroom. This is 6th grade science, and to get to 8th grade science, you go through 6th grade science. And the other areas down south, the industrial tech guys, into room 45, or to 46, to get to 44, you got to walk into 45. To get to 46, you got to walk through 45. That was an issue when there was welding. Now, since it's all woodworking and that, but that's a problem, that distracting the kids. Teachers work through it, but the kids also work through it. Walking through, they know, they keep walking. They don't worry about what 6th grade, science is doing, because a lot of them were in 6th grade science, so they know the answers that the teacher's talking about. We do have water, but we have an issue with the drain pipes. They're kinked, so we've lost our drinking fountains. A lot of kids carry water bottles, and that's the reason why, because the operating drinking fountains down in the gymnasium, and we'll be down there later. Breakdown with plumbing this past school year, breakdown of plumbing over where I'm standing at right now, the overhang area just outside the boardroom. There was water coming from the ceiling, and all of these rooms are plumbed to go south. The room behind me, Mrs. Woodworking's room, it drains to the west. So in order for us to have an operating sink, as you can see here, in that we tapped into the family, Mrs. Woodworking's life skills classroom to at least we have one sink that drains. This one right here is an operating sink. In science, you need sinks that, drain. So something's going on over there also when it comes to our drain pipes are kinked. This is where our latest leak, and that was the plumbing issue. Whereas I was describing earlier in Mrs. Boberchek's classroom, everything drains to the south. Well, something's kinked. Something's kinked in the line, and it's plugged, and that because they run snakes and they come to a stop, and that they can't get any further down the line. So those are actually holes, they covered up right now to continue to keep things going there. Now, cafeteria-wise, it's shared by the junior, senior high at lunchtime, but 7:40 in the morning, our bells ring, and bells ring, the doors open. There's a click on the door lock system. The kids, they can hear that they have good hearing. And boy, they're in the building. By 7:50, there's 200 kids in here. By 7:55, there's 300 students in here, and they're supervised by 3 adults here. Lunchtime, we have one lunch period from basically 12 to 12:30 each day. Senior high comes over from 1 to 1:30. Works very well. We get, we're this close together. We share staff members, we share students. So that's not an issue because they support. So they come over, they supervise their lunch students just like we supervise our lunch students. This is the H of HVAC, our heating system, the boiler system here down here in the boiler room. Getting this out, it's one of these boilers had to be removed. Yeah, there's nuts and bolts, you can take it apart, but the bigger pieces, back to you just take a torch, cut it up, and it either has to go out the walk-in door or one of these windows has to come out and you take it out the window. But then, you gotta have small pieces in order to lift so you don't get hurt there. And then, it's just a mess. So if something has to be replaced in here, and which would be much smaller, I'm sure they're more efficient. They're not as big as, remember this is in, Korean War time is when this was after the Korean War. 66 is when this building was built. Now these are large boilers. I'm sure they're half the size or a third the size, so they're much smaller. But the only way they're gonna come through is through this wall on the north side. So they'll have to bring in a dozer somewhere and create some type of walk-in or overhead door concept so they can get skid steers or whatever they need, forklifts to bring in the new, take out the old and bring in the new. This holding tank, I don't know for sure what this, but it's part of it that has this insulation around it. Was leaking, so they had to seal it on the inside. Well, they had to find the person that could fit through the hole to get inside there to put the resin on the inside. So walking through the cafeteria, and that with the two levels in that, we do use for ADA requirement. We do have a lift that goes from here cafeteria up to the academic area, first floor. And that, as you can see, you unfold that. And it's slow, which it needs to be. So somebody's going to be late. Either the student using the lift or the student's waiting for the lift to finish. So in staff, it's not an issue. They talk with the students and they're understanding, which they need to be. But yeah, that lift takes up half the stairwell. And boy, when it makes the bend, you got to watch out. If you get caught, by chance, you don't know what's coming up. You're coming down the steps and you see it and you back up. and you think you back up far enough. Well, when that square makes a radius curve, boy, that corner comes out a long ways. So you'll see a student standing here seeing the lift coming up, and that thinking everything's fine. And then when it starts taking the corner, they go whoop, they jump back, to get out of the way because it would hurt on your shins. Gymnasium locker rooms. I'm going to tell you right now, we're not Title IX compliant when it comes to locker room space. This is the girls' locker room here at the junior high school, and that students that it serves, because all 6th, 7th, and 8th graders take PE, and that's part of their schedule each day. So you're looking at between 140 over days time, between 140 to 160 girls. Because we're at 310, you divide that by 2, that's 152, 153 boy-girl split. We make it work, but this space needs to be larger. And the only way we can squeeze it down or make it larger is, we got to squeeze another area or add on, and I don't know what, a little hard. And this is the men's locker room. It's much bigger, the cage area for activities, PE. You can see the Frisbee disc golf poles are here, along with equipment stored for athletics, here in this room, back cage area. Located the ice machine right here in this area, so it's accessed both boys and girls during the day. Due to the fact the cage is shut, we have this barrier here. Obviously, you have to have permission to use the ice machine, so we send the student in here. We have permission. We just need storage. The areas for storage, and that gymnasium-wise, it works. It's functional. That I've been here for a while. I officiate junior high basketball, reserve basketball games, even some high school basketball games get put in this gym. It's a little tight because it's smaller. But during the school day, we have an 8-period day, 1 period's lunch, so 7 periods. This is a classroom, and that it's PE. And the stage, I understand the stage concept, the stage area, but that's wasted space for when it comes to activity. Yes, there's basketball, but if this was just this shell, keep the shell and lower the stage area, rotate. I made this, rotate the floor, and that utilization of the space moved into the future. This is big in that, because right now when you look at it, probably 3/5 is at this floor level, and then 2/5 of the area is the stage area. And when they're working out, doing things, you have kids running up the steps, run across the stage, run down the steps, and that just one large flat area I see as being a beneficial, a major improvement. Earlier, this is a 612 building, and we'll finish up what every junior high student experienced. If you're band choir in the 6th grade, you experience it. If you are not a band choir in 7th grade, in 8th grade with our exploratories, because we share students, we share staff here in our building, is in the afternoon, but after first period, in order for our students to get to the senior high, or students from the high school to come to the junior high, they walk from either entry 1 to entry 1 or to entry 2 coming into our building, and our junior high kids leave the building going over to high school once an hour, basically, because our class periods are they're 55 minutes, 54 minutes in the afternoon, because we're on the high school schedule, or our bell schedules are not exact on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. But hey, just want to tell you, thanks for touring here at the junior high school with me today here. If you have any questions that, you're more than welcome to come to the junior high and that to see, you know, what the building really looks like. I mean, the experience about the hallway we showed you earlier, I mean, you need to see that in person and that. I mean, it's tight and that, but it's manageable. But the most important thing about, you know, when it's all said and done, the building is safe, staff is outstanding, our students are outstanding, our staff, you know, academically, our kids do perform. We have the data to prove it. And that is consistently year after year. And that, yeah, there's some dips here and there, but boy, I can't say enough about the staff here at the junior high school and our students and that. Everybody since 1987, I know a lot of kids that walk through these hallways and that, and they come back and they have smiles on their faces. So appreciate your time. Have a good day.